This is a glorious day. A day of judgment.
Okay, everyone, don't check your brains at the door because we are talking about 28 years later. Set almost 3 decades after the release of the Rage virus, 28 years later imagines a Europe that has been forced to adapt in order to survive their ruthless and forced quarantine. Enclosing themselves in isolated communities, one such group of survivors have made a new life for themselves on a small island that's connected to the mainland only by a single causeway. As his son Spike turns 12, Jamie believes it's time for his boy to learn how to hunt the infected, and he decides to take him into the interior. However, although their experience goes awry, Spike believes that there's hope deeper in the forest, and he sets out with his mother on a mission to get the help they need. First off the bat, it is worth noting that 28 years later doesn't follow the pattern of other zombie films like World War Z or Train to Busan, or arguably the first sequel in 28 Weeks Later. This is not a film that features wave after wave of zombie-infected carnage, and while there's plenty of that in this film, really what Garland and Boyle want to do is sit with humanity, and it's these quieter moments that truly make it special.
That's why our home is so precious.
Admittedly, 28 years later has already proven somewhat controversial, mainly due to the film's wild shifts in tone and an ending that feels like it comes out of nowhere. However, it is important to note, as Garland and Boyle have stated, that this is the first chapter in a planned trilogy, and in the truest of sense, the story is far from complete. And for that reason, I feel like there's a cohesiveness that holds the film together, even in moments that just sort of feel out of place.
Once you walk onto that mainland, there's no rescues.
Without giving any spoilers, the most shocking aspect of 28 Years Later may not be its bloodlust. In fact, it may be the compassionate heart and search for humanity that it seems to be interested in. Boyle and Garland do ensure that the infected are seen as the other. They are brutal, they are bloody, and they are violent. However, there's still a spark of humanity in them that makes them something else.
There are many kinds of death. Some are better than others.
Some of the most profound insights of 28 Years Later lie in its conversations about life, death, and everything in between. Boyle and Garland may be using a zombie structure in their storytelling, but underneath they're having conversations about the inevitability of our mortality and a celebration of life. In one breath, they're talking about how everybody dies with memento mori, and then the next, they're talking about how everybody loves with memento amoris. It is an absolutely fascinating juxtaposition that the film holds in tension with one another that feels both like worth celebrating and mourning at the same time.
There were so many dead, infected and non-infected alike.
Although 28 Years Later may be bathed in blood and gore in moments, it truly is a film that is looking for life by sitting at the feet of death. It's brutal, but it's also profound. In short, it's bloody brilliant.
Look at what's in front of you.
28 Years Later is in theaters now.